Go.
Welcome into PressBox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of PressBox and PressBoxOnline.com. And we have a very special program today. We not only have the CEO of the Maryland Five-Star Event, Jeff Newman, but we have the chairman of the Maryland Five-Star Event Committee, and that is Mike Hankin. Guys, thank you for joining us, and I'll be with you in just a second after I tell folks who's sponsoring this show. You know, now's the time to make your postseason baseball bets and your preseason football bets with Superbook Sports. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use promo code StanCharles23 to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with promo code StanCharles23. All one word, no spaces. We'll tell you a little bit more about them as we go along. I'm joined, as I said, by Jeff Newman and Mike Hankin. Mike, you've got a wealth of experience in the business world. Tell me first thing first, what you do as chairman of the Maryland Five-Star Committee.
Well, thanks, Stan, and it's great to be here. So I'm a huge sports fan, and this is an important week in sports with the Orioles doing what they're doing and with the opportunity to think about Brooks. But I'm also a huge horse racing fan and eventing fan and show jumping fan, because there are lots of different ways to see horses as athletes perform and compete against each other. And as chair, which I've been for several years now, Jeff, since it was started, my commitment to it is to help people understand what's going on in this sport and how important it is to the state of Maryland. And in a very short time, we have 25,000 people up at Fair Hill enjoying another great sport over 4 days. And I'm here to do whatever I can to connect business and government and the people on the ground running the event.
I asked both of you this question because if we go back, I don't know at what time period, Jeff, you picked the dates for this event. This year, it's October 19th through the 22nd. But 6 months ago, we would have never imagined that this event would be competing with potentially the championship series in baseball. Do you guys have the flexibility to push this eventually? Because the Orioles look like they could be very significant and relevant every October. Do you have the ability to shift it into November, like the first week in November after the World Series is over?
Well, first off, it's really exciting to have the Orioles do so well. I mean,
yes,
that's great. It's great for Maryland. It's great for baseball. And, so we're obviously big supporters of that. As far as the dates go, I mean, there's a lot that comes into play. First of all, it's how it fits into the international calendar on the world stage to make it, as accessible as possible for the top athletes and horses. So, that in regards to other events around the world, it's difficult to shift. I sort of relate that to like golf and tennis. To try to move an event is not easy. A lot has to happen. Secondarily, there's a lot of events, other equestrian events, frankly, in this area. So it's called October Horse Month for a reason.
Okay.
There's the Washington International Horse Show. There's the Maryland Million. So, how we move our dates also affects other events. And we always want to make sure we're not conflicting with each other so we can make sure that every event is successful and people can attend. So is it possible? It is possible. But at the same token, there's a lot that has to go in. And we also want to make sure the weather for spectators who attend, is also at a good time of year. So all those factors come into play.
All right. Jeff, tell me a little bit about, as we enter year 3 of this event, and we've been together each year as we, since it started, how much better prepared, or organized is the event than it was 2 years ago?
Well, the first year, as you know, was just make it happen. Coming off a pandemic is make it happen and really focus on the competitor experience. Last year, of course, in 2022, we had our learnings from that and how we can build on the spectator experience. And now in the third year, I would say we're much better prepared on the competition side. but we're continuing to evolve and make the event more consumer friendly. So I would say that the preparations in regards to the spectators is still something that always continues to be challenging, because we want to make sure that we're continuing to build on the attendance of the event each year. We want the event to be an anchor, and tenant event for people to put on their calendars, similar to how they put the Preakness on their calendars as a must attend event. So the attendance is always unpredictable at this point. There's not sort of a consistent number. So the operations of planning for something that still is unknown as far as the spectator participation continues to be a challenge, but a good challenge. And so, we're marketing the event and creating more advertising than we ever have, to help get through the clutter, obviously, of a very competitive landscape, in this market, and, the proximity that we have to Philadelphia as well. So, all that comes in. But I would say, there's a great deal of learnings that we've had over the first 2 years, and we are certainly much better prepared for the event as a whole.
Mike, go ahead. Mike.
No, I would just add that they've done an incredible job, and it comes down to things like the Wi-Fi access this year will be 1,000 times better than the Wi-Fi access the first year. So it's things you don't even think of.
Like something like that. Is that something that you got consumer feedback from, or was it something that you just, as a group, realized that this is something we got to get it up to speed, so to speak? Mike?
Let me let Jeff answer that, and then I'll weigh in. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Sure.
Yeah. So Fair Hill it's an absolutely gorgeous property. It has, all the turf and the footing that is just world class, and that was really what was built, when we put this public-private partnership together to raise millions of dollars to create this new special event zone. But one thing that it still continues to need is it doesn't have much permanent infrastructure. So every year we do have to bring in all the temporary Wi-Fi, all the tents, all the seating, all the power, that comes with, running a major event. So that continues to just evolve as spectator, attendance continues to increase, as more sponsors do activation. So to Mike's point about Wi-Fi, that's obviously the number one necessary amenity that's needed, both from a spectator and from a sales and business standpoint, to make sure that people are not, interrupted in what is their daily lives of, constant reliance on their phones and, point of sale locations. So that is definitely something we focused on, and we have a new partner, Armstrong, that has done an incredible job this year in adding new fiber and the ability to increase our Wi-Fi, across a 4-mile landscape.
Mike?
Yeah, I think Jeff and his team have done a great job adapting to running a world-class event with a lot of people, a quarter of the attendance of Preakness, in a place that hasn't seen that many people before. And it's all good news. The economic activity in that area has secondary and tertiary consequences, which I think they've thought out well. May I go back for a second to the overlap with baseball? And
yeah, sure.
I think it's exciting because the Breeders' Cup this year is being run at Santa Anita. $31 million of prizes over Friday and Saturday, November 3rd and 4th, a really big deal in worldwide horse racing, right? And I think that the last game of the World Series could overlap with the Breeders' Cup. And I think what we have to do is embrace it. And remember when Michael Phelps' video was shown at a football game?
Yeah.
We're going to have to do that at Fair Hill this year. We're going to have to show on our local TV and all the suites, and as people walk by, we're going to have to break for some great Oriole plays if necessary.
That's a great point.
And then hopefully the Orioles at some point will break for a great finish at Fair Hill, or the Breeders' Cup will do it, and we're all going to have to work with each other, because we all love these sports, and as you know, racing has betting, and now everything else has betting, with great support from the people who are supporting you.
It's interesting. That's one of my other questions. We're sponsored by Superbook, can people wager on equestrian events? Or eventing, Mike?
Well, I haven't seen what's happening under the new world of sports betting yet.
Right.
But I would imagine that somewhere you could place a bet, and at some point in time, as the broader world gets educated on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. Internationally, you if you're overseas and you live overseas, you can bet on eventing. In the States, it's still not something that has been structured. That's an opportunity that we're looking forward to in the future and bringing sports betting to the event and to eventing. But we need a sportsbook partner, in order to do that. So there's still some, regulations and some processes that have to go through with, Maryland Lottery and others, in order to make that happen. But it is something we hope to bring to the fold next year.
That's interesting. Mike, you used the word educate.
Yeah.
In order to attract new people to this event each year, because I'm sure you exponentially, you figure you're going to increase the number of people that are already into eventing that will attend. But to really make this thing hum and get big numbers, you need to educate people. Is there a thought process on how to do that?
Well, I think we have to take a page out of what happens overseas, where at the big events, Burley and Badminton in the UK, you have over 100,000 people attend those over a several-day period. And if you drive in from the airport in London, you're going to see billboards with photos from Badminton and Burley, and that's what has to happen here. And it's not unlike, Stan, what we're beginning to see finally with soccer in America. We just need to educate people that the level of competition can be just as good, certainly with Messi being here as an example. And we just have to take it on. And watching a horse run down in the cross country phase of eventing is as thrilling as watching a horse in the stretch at the Preakness.
No question about it. I got to experience that the last 2 years, especially last year, because the weather on the cross country day was just absolutely gorgeous. Looking forward to doing it again this year. Jeff, anything new out there? Aside from the increased Wi-Fi, how about the shopping district? I mean, that thing blew me away. The level of product that was out there. Anything new in that regard, or food, access to food?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, it's cliche, but we want the event to not just be known as a competition, but an event, an experience. And so, one thing that we are bringing, and it's actually thanks to Mike and Brown Advisory, is MD 5-star radio. It's going to be powered by Brown Advisory, and it gives people the opportunity to purchase a radio earpiece where they can listen to the same commentary that you would hear on our broadcast and our live stream. So you'll have the ability to buy an earpiece and listen to the same commentary and know what's happening play by play. And that's something that we felt was necessary, and in terms of educating people, like you said, on the sport and how it's judged and the scoring. We thought that was a very important, component. So especially on cross country day, when it's so expansive and 4 miles, that if you're in a tailgate tent, for example, and you're at one obstacle, having an earpiece, now you can hear what's happening on the rest of the course. So that's new to the event. And from a special event standpoint, last year we introduced the Maryland Corgi Cup that takes place on our Sunday, and we actually have 103 corgis now signed up. So we wanted to add to those kind of special events. So we'll have pony racing on Saturday. We're going to have a rescue dog parade where people can bring their dog if it's a rescue dog and do a parade around our track.
That's great.
Our Fresh Food Fest is still continuing. And so we're just adding more of those type of activities to make it a truly family-oriented event in the fall. And lastly, we did partner with the new Great Wolf Lodge in Perryville. So people can now from all over bring their family and their kids, and they can stay at a water park 20 minutes up the road. We actually partner with Hollywood Casino, so there's an adult option as well, and then we hope everybody comes out to the event. So that new partnership has really helped us to really market to families.
Mike, I saw you nodding your head at my assumption in the question I asked before. Seems like you're going to draw more people that are already into eventing each year. I'm sure there were some people that sort of the first year was like, well, let me see how this goes. But are you at the same time, is there the same attempt to grow the number of people that are first timers to come out to an event such as this?
I think there is, Stan. And look, frankly, historically, I'm a racing person,
Yep.
not an eventing person. So, and I was aware of it, and I'd gone to some in my life, but I spend most of my time on flat racing or steeplechase racing, and we have seen the fan base expand already. So Brand Advisory is a big sponsor, and so we invite friends of the firm, customers, future fans of eventing. We're booked.
Yep.
Each day, and it's a day where we've got steeplechase racing at Far Hills outside of New York City. At the same time, you got baseball going on, so it is expanding, and I've just been thrilled with the reception, and I think it'll only grow.
Yeah, it appears that way. Jeff, can we get down to some of the facts of the event? Can you run the calendar down? I know it starts on October 19th, which is a Thursday, correct?
Yes. So it runs from Thursday through Sunday. There's 3 chapters, if you will, 3 phases of competition. The first phase is dressage, and that takes place on Thursday and Friday. We also have what's called the Young Event Horse Competition happening on Thursday and Friday as well. And that's 4 and 5-year-olds who are trying to aspire to the higher levels. Hopefully one day they'll become the 5-star horses. So that's a real, unique opportunity to see that as well. On Saturday is cross country, and you talk about how we get people interested in eventing. Cross country is what defines the sport. It really is what makes it different. And it's something spectacular that you have to just see in person. And so if people only have one day to come out, that's the day that they should come out. And then Sunday is show jumping, the sort of finale, if you will. And, as far as how this works, it's an equestrian triathlon, and you have to be successful at each phase, dressage, cross country and show jumping. And like golf, it's the lowest score wins. So the one with the least penalty wins. So it's like a story. I mean, you're following each chapter to the end, and that's what makes eventing so unique. It's not a race, it's a competition. But I think people, it's really just a matter of what their taste is per phase, but we hope people will come out for, all 3 days of competition.
How do people purchase tickets, Jeff?
Yeah, you just go to maryland5star.us, our website. We have a new ticketing partner called Tixer. It's very consumer friendly and very mobile friendly. But you just simply go to our website and just under the ticket section. You can also purchase tickets during the event. We'll have the box office open when gates open at 7 a.m. each day. And then we just encourage people to follow our social media platforms, at Maryland 5-Star. So pretty easy to get tickets. And like I said, I think it's very affordable. Kids 10 and under get in free. And then the tickets start as low as $15.
That's fantastic. Mike, how do you think this event has been handled by the media locally? I mean, do you think it's gotten the coverage it deserves up to this point?
I think the media, I think there's a huge opportunity there that over the years, Stan, we've seen, 40 years ago, racing would be front page, above the fold headline.
No question about it.
And just for lots of reasons that we all understand, it's been sort of squeezed out. And I think we're just missing an opportunity, because if you fly over this country, it's stunning how many horses there are in people's backyards, and people just love horses and they love seeing them compete. There's nothing like, watching Secretariat, or watching one of these horses in cross country or a big show jumping event. And so I think I think we just need to bring it alive. You know, if you go to social media, it's nonstop, you know, on Instagram. So I think there's a great opportunity. And look, it's really exciting in Maryland, in Northeast Maryland, on a weekend where there wasn't a lot going on. There's 25,000 people.
Yeah.
It's huge. And I think people just need to sit back and think about that and say, hey, there's something going on up there. I need to get up there.
Yeah, and let me just add to that too. I mean, just a reminder that, you know, there's only 7 of these in the world,
Yeah.
and there's only 2 in the US, and there's 1 right here in Maryland and right here in Cecil County. So, you know, it's a chance to see something that you only get to see in very, very few places in the world at the highest level. And as Mike just said, I mean, when you see these horses in person, and it's just so majestic and just thrilling to see. And what makes the event so great is that it's very accessible. You're very close to it. You know, when you're at our cross country, you're rope side and you see these amazing animals go by, and you know, it's just one of those must see things. And like I said earlier, we just hope people look at this as, and they embrace it, that this is a part of Maryland. The horse industry is a huge part of Maryland, and people should support it because it's a great event for Maryland. It's a great, you know, visitation for the state, and hopefully that's, you know, that'll catch on.
I know we've got to cut this short in a moment because Mike's got something scheduled. But Mike, I just wanted to ask you one last question. I know Jeff works directly for Terry Hazeltine a roundabout way. In the course of about 5-6 weeks, we'll have had the Maryland Cycling Classic and this event. These are events that didn't exist 5 and 10, 15 years ago. Could you talk a little bit about what Terry has meant to the sports, you know, the sports landscape?
I think Terry is a guy who put his head down and said, we can change sports in Maryland, not just with 1-year events. Like, remember we had Volvo sailing?
Yep.
Right. Come and gone.
Yep.
But Terry knows the importance of doing it over and over and over again. And the cycling classic was important for lots of reasons. First of all, it's stunning. Right. Those guys are, they're nuts. Right. But it covered the race was what, 120 miles long?
121 miles, I believe.
Right. So it covered a distance of 30 miles in this state. So think of all the people that saw it. And Terry knows that to get support for these things, people just need to know what's happening. And so, and it happened out in the country and it happened in the heart of the city, which was really cool. And this, it's the same thing. So Maryland is very lucky to have Terry Hazeltine, lucky to have Jeff, and frankly, lucky to have the support of the Maryland Stadium Authority, which has just been huge on this.
Mike Hankin of Brown Advisory, I really appreciate your time. Jeff, I love to talk to you every year. And Mike, I look forward to talking to you sometime off the record about horse racing. I'm interested to get your views on things. Okay.
I'd love to, Stan. Take care. Have a good day, and see you out at eventing, races, cycling, and Orioles baseball.
All right. Hey, Jeff, hang with me for one moment. We'll
Sure
let Mike go. Just wanted to go over that schedule again.
Sure.
Thursday is dressage. Friday is dressage. Then Saturday is the cross country. And I agree with you. If you're going to pick one day to go out there, I really think that's the day to go out there. Yeah. Sunday is then a different type of judgment on these horses.
Yeah, it's show jumping. So, you know, what people don't maybe know about eventing is it started out as a cavalry test to get horses and riders ready for battle.
Really?
And then it became an Olympic sport. So each of these phases was designed to, you know, make the horse and the rider sort of be one. So in any instance of battle, you can react to any type of elements. So dressage is about, you know, the horse and the rider doing certain technical moves that they're judged on, very similar to figure skating and gymnastics. And then once they complete that stage, then there's cross country, and that's all about the endurance of the horse and being able to go over long distances and obstacles. And then show jumping is about agility after coming off that kind of endurance Then it's about, going over a set amount of show jumps within an arena, and how the horse and rider have the agility to overcome, high fencing. So that's kind of where it all came from. And what makes it even better is that it's men and women competing together on an equal stage. They're all going for the same medal, and seeing that together is great. But to add a little bit more specifics on the schedule, we have several levels of competition. We have a 5-star, of course, and then we also have a 3-star and the young event horse competition. So in the mornings is the 3-star competition,
Right.
and that's from 8 a.m. until about 1 p.m. And then the 5-star starts, thereafter in the afternoon. So it's almost like a morning and afternoon session per day. So it's, it's a full day, and, people can obviously enjoy it from first thing in the morning, to late in the afternoon.
It's interesting. I just have a question. This is a novice question, but I know you were a novice at this this a few years ago. Do any of the places in the world that do this have the cross country as the last event, or are they all dressage, cross country, and then show jumping?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at what's called a CCI 5-star long. So anytime you have a long competition, the show jumping is last, and cross country is the second phase. There are what's called CCI 4-star short, and the length of the cross country is a lot less. So you can have cross country as your last phase if your cross country is a shorter distance. Because ours is long, that's why they make it the second.
All right. I really appreciate your time. I look forward to seeing you out there in a couple weeks. October 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, Maryland 5star.us. That's where you can purchase tickets and read all about the event as we try and educate fans that come out there each year. Jeff, always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks so much for your support, Dan, and it means a ton. And we really appreciate everything you do for sports and obviously Maryland in general. So thanks for having me.
All right. It's a pleasure. And we want to thank our friends at the Costas Inn. They always sponsor all of our Zooms. And that's it for us